안녕하세요. 인텔 오버워치 에이펙스 시즌 1 아나운서 강민지입니다. 어느덧 에이펙스도 5회째를 맞아 슬슬 의미 있는 성적표가 나오고 있습니다. 세계 1위의 벽을 실감케 한 엠비어스의 등장과 연이은 기대주들의 탄생으로 대회는 다시금 박차를 가하고 있는데요. 지난 경기를 통해서 뛰어난 역량의 개개인보다는 한 몸처럼 움직이는 6명이 승리를 만든다는 건 확실히 느낄 수 있었습니다. 언제나 스포트라이트 뒤에서 팀원들을 지지해주는 선수들에게도 뜨거운 응원 부탁드리면서 하루하루 진정한 의미의 e스포츠로 거듭나고 있는 인텔 오버워치 에이펙스 시즌 1 오늘의 첫 경기 지금 시작합니다.
Intel Overwatch Apex Season 1 Round Robin. Today's matchup, Team Kongdoo Uncia, MVP Space.
Hey guys, welcome to another wonderful week here on the Intel Overwatch Apex Season 1. I am Doe, with me is Monte Cristo, as always, and the action is heating up. Maybe not so much in our first match. It might be okay, but, you know, Kongdoo Uncia MVP looking a little bit on the lighter side as far as, danger these teams provide to the rest of their group. But it's going to be a good match.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Really?
We have had BK Stars go 2-0 so far and beat both of these teams that we're watching in our first series. But with Kongdoo Uncia, they did go the full length to the 5 games, so it was a close match versus BK Stars. Now, that said, MVP Space got slammed by BK Stars, lost 3-0.
Yes.
So we sort of know what to expect coming in here. Kongdoo Uncia did have a lot of fight in them in that best of 5, whereas MVP Space did look pretty shaky.
Yeah, that's right. They're definitely going to need to increase the skill level if they're going to have a chance of kind of really taking any maps off of their opponents. And Kongdoo Uncia, it's interesting too because both Kongdoo teams make it into the tournament, the only organization to have both teams make it in, and each one is struggling just a little bit more than we kind of thought they would. They had a very good reputation, especially Uncia coming into this one because they'd played in some global tournaments. They'd actually done, not that bad. So they were kind of an organization that people were expecting a lot from.
Yeah, Kongdoo Panthera too, which we've now seen go down 0-2. They were winning tournaments domestically in Korea, and sort of the word on the street from a lot of the teams who are practicing against them is that that team is super good, but seems like they don't quite have their positioning down when it comes to actually playing in professional matches, maybe some jitters from being on the stage, because we did expect a lot more from them than they've showed so far.
It's hard to tell with the way the scene is right now because teams are, learning at such different rates, they're improving at such different rates. It's hard to tell basically if a team is improving really fast or they're just stagnating or they're getting worse. It's going to take a lot more matches than we've seen so far before we really get to nail down who are the great teams in this region.
Yeah, absolutely. And our second
Yeah.
match coming up tonight is going to be very interesting. Of course, it will be Envy coming back after a crushing victory in their first best of 5. But they are going to be playing against Konbox T6,
Yeah.
which many of you know as Gamsu's team from League of Legends, a team composed of players that got together 2 days before the qualifier, still managed to qualify for this Elite League. Very individually skilled. We'll see if they have a little bit more coordination than they showed in their first match against Mighty Storm.
Yeah, and to be fair, they did beat Mighty Storm good, fairly handily game score-wise. But
Yes.
if you look at what actually happened in those maps, it was a lot closer of a 3-0 than it really looked like it was on paper. So, I think we saw a team with a lot of natural talent coming into it, but they need more focus, really. So, looking at how our group shake out so far, 1-1 between Flashlux and Rhinos at Gaming Titan, of course. Blue and Rogue still in China, coming back very, very soon, though. Other than that, 2 wins already for BK Stars, but they're going to have a bigger challenge when they go up against Energy Esports later on in the tournament.
Yeah, that's right. And Energy is actually in the studio today, so most of these teams have come over from APAC to Korea, I should say, back to Korea for AF Blue and for Lunatic High. And we are going to have matches with some of these teams on Wednesday. Particularly of interest will be the Africa Freaks Blue Rogue rematch, which of course happened in the bracket stage of APAC, where Rogue did win 3-1.
I am really curious to see how Africa Freaks Blue is going to do now that they're back on their home soil of Korea. This is a team that's dominated the Korean scene since only about a month after they formed. They practiced like crazy. They got very good, very fast. But lately, it seems like they're kind of, maybe stagnating a bit, maybe kind of struggling. So now that they're back in Korea again, now that they're kind of back to their old schedule, I'm curious to see if we're going to see some improvement.
Yeah, I also thought that both of these teams, Lunatic High and Africa Freaks, played very well in the group stages of APAC, but did fall apart in the bracket stage just a little bit. Obviously, Lunatic High did make it to the finals against Rogue, but we didn't see the same level of performance that we saw when they actually took Rogue out for first place in their group.
Yeah, very, very true. A lot more to talk about with that a little bit later on, but let's take a look at the maps that will be in our first best of 5 between Kongdoo Uncia and MVP Space. Of course, I believe it's 9 maps in total are available for picking. The loser of the previous map gets to pick the next one out of the choices available. So there you go. Starting out on Nepal again.
That's right. We'll be going to a hybrid map, followed by a 2CP or assault map, then payload, then another hybrid map if we do go to the 5th game of the series.
That's right.
So yeah, it should be good stuff. Kongdoo Uncia, definitely the favorite coming in.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I'd say probably the player to watch for me is Bergring. He did have some impressive Reaper play in their debut. But again, this team, especially when we saw their last match, it wasn't the cleanest game. They did really kind of struggle a little bit, even though, like you said, it was a 3-0.
Yeah.
And both of these teams,
It's like I said at the very beginning. These are two teams that are very scrappy. They like to get in there and brawl. We don't see the same kind of ultimate coordination and playmaking as far as like team positioning that we see from some of the better teams in the league. But again, you can't really read into that too much because we have such a small sample size with all of these teams, and people are learning at such drastically different rates in this game right now that it really will be very different results-wise from week to week, I think, between all these teams.
Ooh, look at this.
It's Hanzo. Well, it's Hanzo's shoulder anyway. Oh. Wow. There you go. I have the same tattoo. What a coincidence. I never knew that.
You don't show it off on broadcast,
I
though,
don't. Yeah,
What are
I
you doing
don't.
your Hanzo cosplay?
That's right. Oh. So you shouldn't snap the bow without an arrow in it. That's very hard on the string. I learned that because I used to do some archery.
Oh, very good.
Chober and I once did Korean archery together.
How'd that go for you?
I was way better than him. Oh my gosh, it's my parents. It actually is. That is actually the human beings that spawned Doa right there in front of you, and they are wonderful, wonderful human beings.
Got here today, right?
Oh, is it? High five. Yes! They did. Oh, that's me. Oh, hi. Do I look like them?
Welcome to Korean TV, Doa.
Thank
now
you.
everybody knows.
That's right. Well, I couldn't be prouder. They're wonderful parents, and I wouldn't be here without them. Not that they carried me to Korea. I took a plane. They carried me on their backs across the Pacific Ocean all the way to South Korea.
Wow,
No,
impressive.
that's actually not true.
Good swimmers.
Yeah.
Or flyers.
They can fly as well. Yes, that's right. The mutant powers are strong.
Now I know where you got your casting superpowers from, Doa.
It's true. Secret's out now. Oh well, I'm one of a kind. Can't do much more.
I really can't argue with that statement. That is one statement that is truly indisputable.
Well, there you go.
For better or worse.
That's right. But it's awesome to have them here. You know, I've been here 5 years. This is the first time they've been out here, you know, when I've been here. So showing them all the wonders that Seoul has to offer. It's been awesome. So let's get into our first best of 5. Of course, Kongdoo Uncia versus MVP Space. Like you mentioned, Monty, Kongdoo Uncia looking a little bit favored on this one. As we take a closer look at these teams, we can maybe reflect a bit on the performance of these players. And if you look on the left, DNCE, it's Dance, not to be confused with Dunce, perhaps, that you might want to call it. But he's got a great beard, so
He does have
points there.
He does have a great beard. Very rare for young Koreans to be sporting beards.
It is, yeah. I mean, that's honestly, like, I think that's a little bit better beard than I can manage.
It's definitely a better beard than I can grow.
Well, we bow our heads in respect to his beard growing prowess, I guess. But, you know, you need more than a good beard to be good at esports, I've heard.
I love these Kongdoo jumpsuits, by the way. This is one of my favorite team outfits ever, I think.
It is interesting. Noel, where would you rate this against the Rocks Tigers?
Which
Kind
one?
of pink cat here.
Oh, it's very different. That was more of a cute thing. This is more of I'm into fixing cars. I'm a mechanic. This is much more aggressively masculine.
It's a blue-collar team. They're here to, like, get down and work hard to win. And as we know, they are going to need to work a little bit harder here, but no doubt. Their natural skills certainly obvious. Again, you know, it's pretty amazing that we had an organization actually get both teams into the tournament. And on the other side, MVP, talking about an organization with a long esports history in Korea, of course, dating back to StarCraft 2, and then into League of Legends, spawning some very successful teams there, and now trying to do the same thing here in Overwatch, but off to a bit of a rough start.
Yeah, and this has sort of been a pattern for MVP in games. Sometimes when they introduce new teams, they have had a little bit of a rough start. We look at their entry into League of Legends. But one thing that the MVP organization has been consistently good at is identifying talent and then refining it. Because we saw the MVP LoL teams go from bottom of the league to world champions after they were picked up by Samsung.
Yeah.
Teams that became Samsung Blue and White were originally MVP, Ozone and Blue, and both of those teams ended up really at the top of the League of Legends scene by 2014.
Yeah, you'd think we'll see some pretty rapid improvement if history is any indication. Well, there's our percentage for most picked heroes in the league so far. No surprise at all to see Lucio on top there, just edging out Zyra. And in the Beyblade meta, well, Anna Reinhardt Reaper. I mean, probably the least shocking statistic we could possibly show you right now.
It is nice, at least, though, Doa, to see that there's a pretty big drop-off from 90% from the top 3 into 63% for Reinhardt. So there has been a lot of diversity because teams are foregoing the Reinhardt now to operate some other tank compositions focused around, say, Winston as a primary tank instead.
Yeah.
So there is more diversity, and certainly we've seen some clever play in this tournament. And yes, Beyblade has been the dominant composition, but there have been a lot of teams mixing it up as well and adding other elements. So I do feel that we're moving into a more diverse meta than we saw perhaps at the Overwatch Open in Atlanta. And I think we saw that at APAC as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, we're seeing, you know, again, you look at the finals from APAC, had a random fairy even thrown in there from Kvik. So, no doubt, as this tournament goes on, the meta will continue to evolve. And it's time for us to get into our first map of the day, Kongdoo Uncia versus their enemies MVP Space. Let's see who can take the win and go after an early lead. All right, welcome to Nepal, starting out once again with our King of the Hill map. Interesting stat, Monte Cristo.
Oh, yes?
Neither one of these teams have won their King of the Hill map so far in this tournament, so one of them is going to get their first win right here.
Absolutely. We'll see. It looks like we are going to be starting on Village here.
Yep, that is correct. So Village, obviously, one of the most messy points in King of the Hill in general. And usually what we see, you know, I feel like what we see from some of the better teams is a very measured approach towards the point early on. It's okay if you give up this control point initially if you're able to stay alive and poke enough to build ultimates, because what we see, again, I feel the good teams do is try to build ultimates faster than their opponents. And you do that by playing it kind of safe, not just diving in. Then you get that big ult advantage. You take it and you hold it with good defensive play. So
Absolutely, both teams rushing for the high ground, so typical engage here, starting things out.
Tanker going deep on that Reinhardt right off the bat, man. They're going to just push MVP space right back into the building. Well, that works. 2 kills for Panker off the bat. Birdring picks up another, and that is about as strong of a start as you could possibly have here on this map.
That was a Lucid actually picking up the really clutch sleep dart right there to allow Birdring to burst down Poro.
Yeah.
Of course, a former League of Legends player, no surprise with a name like Poro. So easy first take here in favor of Kongdoo Uncia. Now they're going to just try and get the charge right off as they come in through the door. If they decide to take the low ground and Earthshatter.
Earthshatter catches all 6 of them, I believe. And look at that! A massive team wipe coming out in favor of Kongdoo Uncia. That was a tricky, tricky Reinhardt.
Was it, or did they just not check their corners? I mean, that was six people walking in and nobody checking a corner. So not sure how tricky that is versus just extremely sloppy play from MVP Space. They get absolutely wrecked.
You know, I was worried for a little bit. It might be tough for my parents to know what's going on in the game, but it's pretty obvious as far as picking up what just happened there.
Credit to Panker, fast build on that old Poro, switching over to the Genji now.
Now they're going to send in Panker with the nano boost now, going to try to get more kills than he does. MVP Space just already looking completely dominated. And boy, what do you say? I mean, this is about the most one-sided village map I've ever seen.
There's not much else to say beside that, though. This is a complete bloodbath in favor of Kongdoo Uncia. They've got, they're just going to do it this time with the Death Blossom instead, sitting there. So we see the low ground attack again. Oh, God.
I've been to this party before. It's the gun party. Oh, Reaper, there he is. He's going to jump right in. Oh, that was a little bit early.
Right. At least they read it that time and actually did have a plan to back off. No.
Soundberry used to shore up the defenses here for Kongdoo Uncia. As MVP Space is threatening, well, I say threatening in the loosest terms, I suppose. There's 3 kills already coming in for Kongdoo. Have they even lost anyone yet in this map?
That is a great question, though.
I don't think anyone's died yet.
I think the answer is no, that nobody has actually died on this map yet. If so, it has been just one person. And now we're looking at MVP Space. At least they have some ults to work with now. It will be 5 of them.
Slip dart onto Poro right away. Goes down before he can use the Dragon Blade nano boost onto the Reinhardt right away. Birdring seeking out that Tracer. But looks like June only going to live for a moment in the point before he's taken out. 99% already up for Kongdoo Uncia. And yeah, I don't think anyone died. I think that was actually a perfect round for Kongdoo Uncia.
Holy moly.
Dude.
Especially when there were 5 ults coming into the point, they just completely shut everybody down.
Yeah.
But that is a huge fault with MVP Space that they couldn't even use an ult coming in to that final push. And that is 100% the most one-sided round we have had in this tournament so far.
I have watched a lot of Overwatch tournaments so far in this game, and I have never seen a round on King of the Hill go like that before.
I think that was the second most brutal beatdown that I've ever seen in this game. The first one was that map where Envy was spawn camping on Dorado at first point.
Yeah, against Mode 7, I believe it was. Yeah, a few months ago, but that's still the most brutal beatdown I think I've ever seen. But this was second place now. We've got a strong ranking. Well, as we move on to Shrine, you really got to wonder if that kind of sets the tone for this whole series. MVP Space now, even more pressure on these guys to get a kill even.
Mentally coming back from that, I think, is going to be really difficult. We'll see how resilient MVP Space is as both teams rush into the point on Shrine.
I mean, at least it can't get much worse than that. Panker going in already, gets sleep darted, gets a little bit low, backs up, gets healed. Going to be okay for the moment. Daly with the grab, and whoa, can't kill. Liana finally gets it. That's the first kill that MVP Space has gotten all map, but that was a big one. Getting the Ana out of the way will force Kongdoo Uncia to back up a bit.
Okay, well, they are going to at least cap the point, get a first percentage point here for the first time in this best of 3. Fatal sticking with the D.Va. Now, this is a hero we don't typically see on King of the Hill maps.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's not going to be too terribly useful, actually, against the composition that MVP Space is running. You're not going to be blocking much with that defensive matrix.
I mean, and you're not even going to get a lot by ulting on the point either, because you've got a big pillar in the middle to protect you. Looks like Graviton Surge used by Kongdoo Uncia, and they will go ahead and take this point right back. Roadhog about to leap to his death. Goodbye. Oh, tried to pull Panker with him. You got to do that sometime. You got to do that.
Got to try and take somebody with you. But yeah, Nano Boost comes in onto Panker. Doesn't have to use the Earth Shatter right there. They do end up blowing the Nano Boost and the Zarya ultimate, but that's about it. So now Panker's going to sit up for the same play, I guess. If it worked once, why not again?
Yeah. That's a good play, though, on that Roadhog. If you're a Roadhog main and you're playing King of the Hill, it really is worth it if you have to reset to try to pull somebody with you. I do that all the time, and it really is a good idea. Tanker throws the Earth Shatter. Oh, gets blocked by the Reinhardt shield on space, so he gets slept as he tries to charge in. Not going to work. Nope, it was Reinhardt versus Reinhardt instead. Meanwhile, Poro gets the Nano Boost. He's going to go in with the Death Blossom, get a couple kills there. Looks like an okay fight for Space so far. Got to run from the Diva ultimate, though. Unfortunately, Fatal not picking up anybody.
Diva ult was pretty poorly placed there.
Yeah.
I was in an awkward position off the point, and also the column was actually blocking a lot of the members that could have been killed by MVP Space, so they do bounce back and take it.
I'm surprised to see him sticking with the Diva, honestly, because like we mentioned, it's just not the greatest hero on this map for a lot of reasons. And I'm struggling to see what the objective is here with this Diva. Now as Birdring comes in, goes for a big Death Blossom. Nice start there. And that's the fight that Kongdoo Uncia absolutely wanted to have.
There we go. Well, the Diva's able to zip down at least to finish off the Reaper. But yes, against this composition, I figured he'd switch the Diva after using the self-destruct. What is he really going to block here?
Well, I mean, the idea is that you dive into the back lines and you go after the Ana, you go after the Lucio. It's similar to, you know, any other way to try to handle the Beyblade composition, but I just don't think, especially on this point, that Diva's the most effective way to do that.
Why not just play Winston?
Yeah, or Genji.
Well, I mean, if you want to go for another tank.
Yeah, all right, Graviton Surge for Kongdoo Uncia, getting a couple of kills there, and that works out quite nicely. MVP just seems to have a habit of getting caught in these awkward spots in team fights.
Well, they should be keeping better track of the ultimates. If you're going to rush around the side like that on an approach, and you should know that the Zarya does or does not have the Graviton Surge up, because it made the cleanup extremely easy.
Yeah. Lucy's getting a couple shots off from the point with that Ana. MVP Space pushing back in again. 51% on this point. Nano Boost go down on both Reinhardts. It's hammer time. Earth Shatter was used, but not to great effect as MVP Space picks up one. They use a Graviton Surge as well, and Panker just trying to disrupt the back lines, but it's not going to be enough. MVP Space to take the point back again.
Yeah, really surprised that they actually managed to pull that one off. Birdring was really close to having the Death Blossom, about 85% charge when that fight started, but instead of waiting for it, they really just committed to Panker on that ultimate, so they didn't get, I think, the most efficient combo they could have as that engage went down had they waited just a little bit longer. But the Zarya ult does work, and here we go.
Oh yeah, it's Death Blossom time, and Poro able to push back Kongdoo Uncia a little bit more, gets a kill on the Reinhardt, which is going to pretty much stop a lot of pushes from Kongdoo Uncia. Diva ultimate comes down, self-destruct, not picking up anybody, unsurprisingly. Daly pops a whole hog, just going to push MVP, or push Kongdoo Uncia back, rather. And the Graviton Surge might bring him back in, and look at that, 2 from Fatal already. Birdring looking for the Reinhardt on the outside. And they make it work, and that may actually get them the round and get them the map, just like that. Man, look closer for MVP Space, but it still is going to be a fairly clean win in the end for Kongdoo Uncia.
Yeah, absolutely. So they'll go 2-0 in Nepal, take the first map of this series. We will be heading into a hybrid map for the next one. We'll see what exactly MVP Space is going to select here.
Yeah, you know, the Diva seemed like something that they had really practiced a lot, and, you know, a plan they had coming into this King of the Hill. I don't know if it was terribly effective. It's hard to criticize it too much because they did get the win, but I'm curious to see if we're going to see more from them in the future, especially on some of our other maps, if they want to use that Diva a bit more.
I can see it if you have a lot of unblock or abilities you can block with the defense matrix as to why you would take it as opposed to something like a Winston if you wanted a tank to dive the back line.
Sure. You know, I suppose theoretically it could be used defensively if, you know, Reaper comes in and you want to nullify the nano boost, but
yeah, stopping some of the damage coming in.
It seems like it'd be hard to get that to work as well as some of your other options, though.
I just don't see the logic here where the Winston isn't going to be doing similar things, obviously.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Let's take a look at that one again. But ultimately, the self-destruct was not particularly effective in either of the maps that we've seen so far. We will see if they actually are going to stick with the Diva.
I mean, ever since beta, though, with self-destruct, it's like, all right, I'm using it. And if you get a kill, you're like, whoa, I got a kill with that. I was not expecting that.
At least it's a little bit more reliable to get kills these days since they buffed her.
It's time to get on to map number 2, guys. King's Row. Let's see if MVP Space can tie things up or if Kongdoo Uncia is going to jump out to a quick 2-0 lead.
get it.
You know, sometimes Monte Cristo, the Greencasters just want to talk.
They do. They love
A
talking.
lot to
It's
say
their
about
job.
Kings Row.
It's their job. All right, we'll be Kings Row. Excited to see this one. Kongdoo Uncia in one of the maps that they did win against BK Stars did go 3-2 on Kings Row, so we know they were capable of actually beating a team that defeated them on this map.
Yeah. Very true. And Kings Row is one of those maps that seems to have a lot of interesting variations you can try. We've seen some Bastion pushes. We've seen you know, a lot of Pharah as well. We've seen Reinhardt freaking out. Kongdoo Uncia on defense here.
Fatal's going to stick to the Diva.
Yeah, he is. Wow. Interesting. So we've got June on that Widowmaker just to try to scope things out a little bit. Probably see him switch back off of that as soon as the map is about to begin.
You never know these days. At least we did see Envy bringing out the Widowmaker on this map, actually, on the first point. So
True.
certainly a possibility. Some teams have decided that the scope time buffs have been enough to allow her to see at least limited competitive play again, but not this time.
I think we might see a quick run to the high ground here with the Maywall. We'll see if they follow through with it. Seen a lot of teams put down the Maywall to get the team over to the high ground a little bit outside point, but no, they're actually just going to jump down. All right, just coming around the outside. We'll see what Poro can do. Nice separation with that wall as they come in. See if they can pick up any early kills with that. Murdering on the screen. Oh, nice flashbang over the shield, but no real follow-up there.
Walls have been good so far.
Yeah.
A couple of them just splitting them off, trying to get those picks. Only one, though. They're waiting for Panker to come back. Dance is going to die in the meantime, so actually might be a pretty quick first cap here. We'll see if Kongdoo actually wants to contest this once the Zarya returns.
It looks like they may. Yeah, there we go. Okay, nano boost onto the Reinhardt. Birdring going around the outside. Anchor just trying to clear out that point with all the extra damage. Gets slept, but not before he takes out Poro. Meanwhile, nano boost looked like went over onto Dance actually on the Kongdoo Uncia side. I'm sorry, onto Panker.
We're gonna back up right now, so they got the initial picks in despite that May wall, able to get around it and get the nano boosted Reinhardt. June is going to be slept, but does manage to survive thanks to a bit of damage and a Zarya shield coming in right afterwards. So Kongdoo pushing out, but MVP Space has a lot of ultimates to work with right now. No nano boost, but there's the Earth Shatter finishing it up for Kuki.
Yeah, it was Daily that ended up receiving the nano boost last fight from Sylph on MVP Space. Looks like we're gonna maybe see Graviton Surge come in here. And combining that with something else, possibly. Yep, there's a Blizzard. Are we going to see the Death Blossom come down too? June biding his time, not using it quite yet, and it looks like they may not need it. Birdring picking up the kill for Kongdoo Uncia. There we go. Oh, gets stopped. Flashbang taken out by Birdring. There wasn't really a whole lot for June to kill with that Death Blossom there anyway.
Yeah, all of Kongdoo Uncia is up though. There's the nano boost coming in for the Reinhardt late in the fight, but still may be able to do something.
Yeah, Birdring picking up a few more. McCree doing work. And a rocket fist to the face. Will give Fatal the final kill.
MVP Space has had ult advantage and multiple times in this match so far, and they've been really failing to convert on it in any tangible way.
Well, it's kind of like what we said going into this. It just seemed like MVP Space, when you compare it to some of the other teams in this league, just hasn't had the same sort of coordination that we're used to from some of the top teams.
Absolutely. Well, got at least an Earth Shatter to work with right now.
Yep. Oh, that could be a big dead eye. Birdring not picking up any with it, though. Wow. Everyone getting out of the way at the last moment. Picks up Kuki, though, in the end. That's going to stop the push from MVP Space either way.
Did enough. I mean, him being on the high ground got a bunch of free shots in as he dropped down after the Deadeye was complete. So this may just be a full hold right here. A minute left.
It's looking a little bit scary now for MVP Space.
I mean, it's really scary because Kongdoo is so close to getting
no.
Yeah, that's a big split spawn too.
Yeah.
As Poro goes down, so there's another 10 seconds where they're not going to really be able to attack right now. Are they going to go in without Poro?
Well, they have to, man. I mean, well, I don't know if they have to, but they're going to try it. Sound barrier used immediately to keep Kongdoo Uncia safe. Kuki saving that Earth Shatter goes down, and I think they probably should have waited for Poro.
They should not have gone in right there. That was incredibly sloppy. They gave a bunch of other new ults over to Birdring, was able to get his Deadeye back up. Fatal now with the self-destruct, and with the self-destruct there, it's incredibly hard to make just one final push onto this point.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they would not have waited. They got
One
man.
last push. They got to do it. Birdring pops the Deadeye right away. June has that nano boost onto the Reaper. Oh, but 3 with the Deadeye. And the eyes aren't the only thing that's dead right now. I think MVP Space's chance of capturing this point has gone along with it.
I'm sure there was a blizzard right there, but there was no follow-up damage. They just sat there frozen until the ultimate ran out. So making it look easy. Full hold here for Kongdoo Uncia. Wow. Well, I don't know what to say. MVP Space really not looking like a very good Overwatch team tonight.
No, it hurts a little bit, but they actually look kind of worse than what we saw before, which is kind of the opposite of what you'd expect. You expect them to look at least a little bit more coordinated, but they are looking thoroughly outclassed right now by Kongdoo.
Wow. Well, I'm a little bit speechless after that, Joe. I just feel like a lot of these mistakes are communication errors that shouldn't really be happening, especially on that last push. There were 45 seconds to work with there. There's no reason why you should try and take that 5v6. They only had to wait 10 seconds and then take another shot at it.
Yeah.
It was going to be one final push really either way, so why not just wait for the full 6v6? Not to mention now we've seen multiple times that MVP Space has had definitive ult economy advantages, and they just get wiped by Kongdoo.
Yeah, I think that's the most worrying thing is that when MVP Space does come into it with what should be a big edge in the fight, they still can't win it. And not only are they losing these fights, they're getting beaten very badly, even with this ult advantage.
Yeah.
So.
Puzzling to be sure. Well, MVP Space going with a very standard composition, 2-2-2 here, set up. Kongdoo not going to be running that Symmetra. We'll put Dance onto the Tracer instead. So
It's been a little while since we've seen the offensive Symmetra, hasn't it?
I don't think we're going to be seeing it anytime soon.
Or defensive Symmetra, or anything Symmetra.
Any Symmetra.
Really.
Well, you never know. Maybe Envy will bring it back on defense in first point Dorado.
First point Hanamura, maybe.
That used to be an Envy thing to do, Internet Hulk, with the defensive Symmetra, but don't think we're going to be seeing it. Well, Dance is actually going to at least do a little bit of scoping here with the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
See
Looking
what he can
for
see.
some early kills. Nobody
gonna
up on the
switch.
high ground.
Yeah, he's going to switch probably over back to the Tracer.
Yeah, only person he could see was that Reinhardt, and that shield is hard to shoot through. So Fatal on the Zarya this time around. They're not going to run the D.Va here on offense. Probably a good idea.
Getting some nice poke in while Birdring.
Oh, Moro, right there, hiding in the little Mandata statue alcove. And an early push coming in. Charge brings Kuki in. MVP Space trying to defend. They do kill Panker. That will slow down Kongdoo Uncia a bit. Birdring on this Genji, though. We'll see what he can accomplish. It's going to be annoying, at least.
Yeah, doesn't have a lot of ult charge yet. Wasn't able to hit a ton of those shurikens coming into the point, and trying to play back right now.
Whoa.
Nice shot on to Dance, actually picking off that Tracer, but here comes the nano-boosted Reinhardt.
Yeah, whoa, and he brings the other nano-boosted Reinhardt back again. June with the Deadeye now. Panker was dealt with, but still, behind all this, kills coming in for Kongdoo Uncia. Looks like they might be able to win the fight in the end. Nice cut onto June there. Birdring getting a couple with the Dragon Blade. And that looks like it should be another map win for Kongdoo Uncia. Remember, they only needed to take point A to win it.
Well, we're looking at what is maybe the fastest best of 5 so far in this tournament.
That was like Kongdoo Uncia's second push, I believe it was. Or like kind of a continuation of their first, because not everybody even went back.
It was a continuation of their first push.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time looking at Birdring, who just dodged into upper halls, double jumping up there on the Genji. And that was it. Just waited out the Dragon Blade, managed to figure out enough angles there to get the shurikens down to get the Dragon Blade ult off.
Well, it's a good day to be Kongdoo Uncia, and you know they had a close loss to BK Stars, of course, in their first match, but it looks like they are probably going to be cruising to a pretty easy victory in match number 2.
What do you really say about this, though? It just appears that there's such a skill gap difference between Kongdoo and Uncia that it doesn't really matter what the strategies are right now, because they're just basically they're hitting more of their shots, they're getting their ultimates built up a lot faster, and they're comboing them better. Meanwhile, MVP Space looks really out of sorts.
I'll be back with match 3 right after this.
사랑하는 파리하. 어머니란 딸이 더 나은 삶을 살길 바라지. 그걸 위해 싸울 수도 죽을 수도 있어. 난 너에게 사랑하는 이들을 지키는 게 가장 중요하다고 가르쳤지. 넌 영웅들 사이에서 눈부신 모험담을 가슴에 품으며 자랐어. 어느 날 넌 그들처럼 되고 싶다고 했지. 난 네가 다른 삶을 살길 바랐는데 너에겐 말 못했지만 사람을 지키려고 사람을 죽이는 건 가혹한 일이란다. 하지만 난 언제나 내 임무를 다했지. 그러던 어느 날 죽여야 할 사람을 죽이지 못했다. 난 망설였고 모든 게 바뀌었지. 내가 지켜야 했던 사람들이 목숨을 잃었어. 난 그냥 남겨졌다. 중상을 입은 채로. 세상은 내가 죽은 줄 알았어. 차라리 잘 됐다 싶더구나. 난 너무 많은 걸 잃었으니까. 난 수많은 친구들과 연락을 끊고 가장 가까웠던 이들을 마음에 묻었어. 많은 걸 잃었지만 난 알아. 아직 내가 지켜야 할 사람들이 있다는 걸. 난 싸움을 멈출 수 없어. 아직은 날 기다리는 사람들이 있는 한. 언젠간 네가 이해해 주길. 너의 어머니 아나.
노력은 선수를 만들고 코어 i7 프로세서는 멈추지 않는 파워를 드립니다.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Intel Overwatch Apex Season 1. I'm Doa, that's Monte Cristo. Well, you can't see him. He's just off camera. He's right over there. See, oh, you almost caught a glimpse of him. He's here though. You know what's not here though? MVP Space's skill.
Yeah.
It's nowhere to be found because they are getting rocked by Kongdoo Uncia harder than we have ever seen a team be rocked before.
I really hope that they come back here and do something on Volskaya. Although, also, just like when we talked about Kongdoo Uncia when they did actually beat BK Stars on King's Row, they also won the control point map on Anubis. So, haven't seen them play on Volskaya, but maybe C2CP will be in their wheelhouse here in MVP space. They have yet to even win a single map in this tournament after falling 0-3 to BK Stars.
Bubbly absolutely looks bubbly right now. He looks cheerful and happy, but how could you not be cheerful and happy after those first two maps? It's impossible. I'll answer that for you.
Well, Dance is keeping it real right there.
He
Got
wants
the
a better
focus
challenge.
locked in.
Unworthy. Well, let's go to map number 3, guys, and see if MVP Space can get any momentum going on Volskaya, or if Kongdoo Uncia will close things out with a clean 3-0.
I get it.
All right, guess what time it is, Monte Cristo?
What time is it, Doa?
It's Volskaya Industries time. That's
Volskaya
right. Do you like big
Industries.
robots? Sure, we all do.
I like big Russian robots.
Who doesn't? So it's time to go where they're made and see if you can camp out in their factory.
All right. Well,
Basically it.
Speaking of stomps, the last time we saw this map, it was NV capturing objective A in under a minute.
Yeah.
So that was pretty damn impressive. And their sister team from Kongdoo, Pantheros, the first to capture second point at 3 minutes and 12 seconds. So,
And I believe it was Luxury Watch Blue we saw take point B on Volskaya in style with a surprise bastion on the mobile platform as a last-ditch effort. But man, it was brilliantly executed, and they were able to take that one. That was insane, actually. That was one of the best rounds we've had in the tournament.
absolutely, and they took the match too over Kongdoo Panthera,
Yeah.
which effectively sort of removed them from the competition here. If you do lose twice, it becomes extraordinarily difficult to come back and actually escape from the group stage. Kongdoo Uncia going to be running very standard composition here. 2-2-2, taking the high ground with the Reinhardt shield. Meanwhile, MVP Space, a little bit of a backline threat here. Kuki actually going to be going onto the Diva right now. So Genji, Winston, Diva, tanky, and capable of really picking off those supports and attacking the high ground aggressively.
Yeah, I mean, my memories of D.Va on this map are from the beta when you just went 6 Divas and went around the left side. It was impossible for anyone to stop you from taking point A.
All right, well, MVP Space actually has successfully forced them onto the low ground and taken the high ground here, so Kongdoo Uncia falling down
This is
as
interesting.
the flank comes through and around. Reinhardt shield blocking most of that spam, though, coming in.
Trying to take the defender's advantage as the attacker, but they need a little bit more than this. Trying to build up some ultimates as fast as they can. Perhaps trying to get Sylph that nano boost. Birdring gets very low. Be careful there.
They have a good composition. They have the McCree and the Genji here to get some long-range poke off, and Lucid really isn't building too much of a charge right now. Meanwhile, Sylph is almost there. Now has the actual nano boost available.
Oh, Birdring's got his Deadeye as well. He's not going to need to use it as June goes down. MVP Space getting stuffed. Everything was going great until they try to jump in. Flashbang to death. Hate it when that happens.
Sylph just needs to jump off the map.
ya.
There we go. A little bit late right there. Had the opportunity earlier. I am really baffled. MVP Space had such a good advantage on the nano boost charge. Sylph got it up very quickly. Meanwhile, Lucid was only down at about 40%. And yet when they went in, they didn't use it.
Yeah, I think that's just another example of the real lack of coordination that we see from MVP Space. They don't seem to be able to have any sort of strong communication as a team.
Yeah, you want to use it, obviously, with another ultimate, but you can always just drop it on your Winston and have him do immense damage on the point.
Well, Daly going in, gets the kill onto Dance. That certainly helps out. But meanwhile, Uncia getting 2 kills of their own. Poro goes down as well, and Kongdoo Uncia going to hold the point yet again.
Well,
See ya.
yeah, June just going to jump off the point right there, and Sylph died again before the nano boost was actually used. Nano boost did go down onto Panker on the side of Kongdoo Uncia, but they just buy so much time for themselves, and MVP Space looks so discombobulated when it comes to coordinating any kind of ultimate use whatsoever. They have to make this Dragon Blade Nano Boost combination work on this push.
Yeah.
But Bubbly's going to have Sound Barrier now, so very little ability to actually get anything done with that.
All right, Uncia jumping down already. They've got the Reinhardt there. Fatal behind him. Diva coming in from the side. Gonna probably pop that ultimate. Graviton Surge used. There's a Deadeye. Will he get any with that? Probably. Yeah, gets one. Some members of MVP Space already down, though. Diva Ultimate not doing a whole lot. And here comes Winston, but Daly has already lost 3 teammates. June goes for a Deadeye of his own, but not going to find, only going to find a couple with it, I suppose. Yeah, Birdring, though, cleaning up, and Kongdoo Uncia with another pretty clean hold. And with that push failing, looks like it's a very good chance that Kongdoo Uncia is not going to even lose this first point.
I mean, MVP Space invested so much into that, too. Look at all the low percentages on their Diva and the Tracer now. Of course, with the Reaper using, are coming in already, so there's just not much for them to work with. Birdring is going to get picked off, but Poro dies at the same time, and they're just trading evenly.
Yeah, if you trade like that, it's not going to really help you go any farther in taking the point. Dance goes in, gets 2 with that Death Blossom, and with that, only 20 seconds or so remaining as they clean up the rest of the members of MVP Space. And, you know, again, with Kuki going down that low, it's starting to split spawn them in an awkward way, but I don't even think they have time to put together a push at this point.
Well, they're going to have to do it without Kuki regardless, because he's going to spawn with 6 seconds left into this match, or 9 seconds. There we go, comes back up. At least with Diva, he can maybe make it over to point A, but this is the Alamo here for MVP Space.
Sleep Dart onto Poro as he comes down right away, and Birdring's going to pick up a couple with his Deadeye. Gets Pelka, gets a nice flashbang onto the Winston, and Daly sniped midair by that McCree, and that is going to be another pretty pitiful round for MVP Space, unfortunately for them.
Birdring actually goes down, but overtime is there, and they don't get the D.Va back onto the point, so that's going to be it. A full hold on point A here for Kongdoo Uncia. If they take 1 point, they will successfully win this series 3-0 in what is undoubtedly the most one-sided match we have had yet in Apex.
Yeah.
MVP Space has not even taken a point yet. They didn't take any of the control points. They didn't take the first point on King's Row. They didn't take the first point here on Volskaya.
Remember that this started with a King of the Hill round in which Kongdoo Uncia did not die at all. So it's looking pretty good. And the thing about Volskaya Industries is that point A is really not too difficult to take. Even as a defender, you kind of expect that you're going to lose it at some point. So to hold it like that, amazing start for Kongdoo Uncia on this map.
Yeah, you can see Lucid there flashing the 3-0 with his hands. He very confident that they are going to grab point A, and why the hell not, though? They have been suffocating MVP Space in this match right now.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not really much to say. I mean, MVP Space just kind of looking off their game tonight in every conceivable way, and it's hard to even tell, you know, where Kongdoo Uncia is at, because I don't think it takes a very good team to fight against what MVP Space is bringing right now.
And MVP Space has been running very standard compositions. We got another 2-2-2 going on right here. They should be able to at least take some of these points with even moderately good ult management, but it has not been there at all for them. Kongdoo Uncia, probably going to see that Bastion and the Torbjorn, but you never know, Doa. Maybe you go for a little bit of style right now.
That's a lot of style from Bubbly right there in the Lucio. Yeah, I don't think they're interested in style so much as a team, though. I think they're interested in finishing this map off in the most dominating fashion we've seen yet in the tournament.
Well, we're going to see perfectly mirrored compositions coming through. Both teams going for the 2-2-2. With the McCree and Reaper on DPS, so they will approach, and it's going to be a upper hold here for MVP Space. Not going to contest the initial choke point. And same approach as we saw from MVP Space up the back side. And are we going to see MVP Space drop down to the low ground? No, they're going to stay upper, but fall back to the opposite side of the point.
All right, now jumping down. Really need to be careful not to get pooped off there somehow, but there's no real big way to have that happen. MVP Space jumping now to try to contest that. June firing away with that McCree. Down though, Birdring gets the kill in the McCree duel. Meanwhile, Dance taking advantage of the sleep dart. Takes out Pelka, goes after Stilt. Both supports are gone. And that is game, set, match. Kongdoo Uncia in the most one-sided best of 5 I have ever seen in Overwatch. It's it. It's
Ridiculous.
over. It's 3-0.
Well, what do you say? Right there at the end, Panker just hit the charge as they dropped down onto the enemy Reinhardt.
Yeah.
And once that Reinhardt went down, it was easy for them to roll up the opposition. Credit to Lucid, who had a lot of good sleep darts over the course of this fight. His accuracy on those was very good and allowed them to get picks onto the support and the DPS members of MVP Space. But wow, it really doesn't get more dominating than that.
I mean, not a lot of analytical talking you can do about that one.
They hit the shots, right? They
Yep.
were constantly outdueling their enemies. They were building their ultimates faster, using their ultimates better. They made it look so easy.
Well, that one ended a bit quicker than I thought it would.
Jeez.
What do you know?
Under an hour for the first best of 5.
That's got to be tough for MVP Space as well, but
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds harsh to say, but it didn't even look like they were trying.
Yeah.
There wasn't
just really fundamental errors there.
Yeah.
It started with not checking that corner and getting completely devastated on the first point of Nepal by, to be fair, what was a very fast charge on the Earth Shatter. But when 6 people walk through and nobody looks to see that there's that Reinhardt there and he 6-man Earth Shatters you,
I know.
I mean, that's... I kind of understand why they might have perhaps gone a little bit on tilt after that.
Well, they tilted off the face of the planet, then threw a black hole and to the other side of the universe at this point. And yeah, well, so that's it, guys. That's our first match of the day. But don't worry, there's another best of 5 coming up that promises to be quite good, I would imagine. It's going to be Team Envious taking on Convox D6. So do not go anywhere. as we will be back very, very soon after this commercial break with an MVP interview and then into our next best of 5. Should be a lot of fun.
Hopefully we'll be a little bit closer. A little bit more thrilling, Noah.
I think it will be, guys. Don't go anywhere. Overwatch Apex Season 1 here on OGN, coming back at you right after a quick break that begins right about now.
Coming up next, T6, Envy Us.